Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 12th day, I almost said the 14th, 12th day of July 2021. Well, my granddaughter's birthday, she'll be 4, is tomorrow, so happy birthday, granddaughter. My grandson's birthday will be on the 31st. He turns 2, and we spent Saturday with them, and it was, to say it was a blessing doesn't even, if you're a grandparent, you know. But this was the first time we had met our youngest one, and oh my gosh, I mean, you know, I think that my husband and I, Grandma and Grandpa fell in love Saturday with two beautiful children that are going to enrich our lives, and they just they make everything better, don't they? They just make everything better. So enough grandma talk, and we'll see. I promise I won't do that. And no, I won't show pictures. I won't talk endlessly about my grandchildren. I won't do that. As much as I might like to, I know I'm not going to do that. But still, you have to allow me this one. So, well, if this is your first time here, what we do is I take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and today it's Yira. Now, some people, I draw it this way. I don't know why I do it this way. I've seen it drawn that way, but then some do it this way, and you can see the difference. So I do it like this, some do it like this. But this is the way my hand wants to draw it. I've tried to do it this way. It doesn't feel right to me. So that's why so if a rune master is watching, go, why does she do it that way? She's doing it that other way. Why is she doing that? It's because I try the other way and it doesn't feel right. So it's still energy moving through the body. It means the year or cycles. It's flow. It's Kenaz, forward and reversed, basically. And it's so maybe what they're thinking is reverse it to the self first and then express it to, but in any event, it's still energy moving. It's the movement of energy, the cycles of things. It's a very good garden rune, and so if you want to, in fact, I have a garden bind rune that I've done that I have hanging in different areas of my garden. And we essentially live in a garden. This whole compound that we live in, we've got 5 acres, and the top part of the property, it's either 3 acres or 3.5 acres, and then we have the big cross fence. It's an 8-foot game fence, so that's the pasture out there, and then we have a little one within the compound, but basically that's how the property is separated. And so we've got this big compound area that's essentially a humongous garden. It's garden spaces everywhere, and greenhouses. There's like 4 greenhouses, and one of them's a dome. And so we essentially live in a garden. We just do. I don't know. And so I don't know how long ago I did this, but I created a garden bind rune, and then my husband cut me some little rounds of wood off of a branch, and then I made a few of them because I wanted to hang them around, and it just encourages good growth and harvest. So it basically it basically is moving energy through that particular growing cycle, if you will. So it's growth and development and all of that. So think about that, and then let's see. I'm going to go ahead and throw these again. I started this once, and it froze about 4 minutes in. Right about now, actually, is when it did. So if we can keep going, that's going to be great. Otherwise, I got to start over. I see Vaya here for the Geomancy rune, and let me pull that out of here, out of the bowl for you, so you can see what that looks like. This is Vaya. It means a new path, or it means way, actually. So journey, new path, alignment. It can also be stuck in perception. So when it's the ill-dignified, if you will, part of it, when it's the negative side of things, it can mean being stuck in perception. It can be like a fixative type of experience. So again, you're aligned on a new path maybe today, letting source presence move through you. and inform the whole experience. Maybe you're doing it in concert with someone else, or a group of someone else's. Maybe it's a work situation where you're starting something new, a new project or something. Let me get this keyboard out of the way. Maybe you're doing that, and something new is beginning for you, that's going to unfold. But think about this in terms of unfolding awareness, as opposed to necessarily directed awareness. It's not that you're not going to have some directionality within it, where you're going to be directing this or that. In other words, if you're talking about a garden there, you're talking about, you're the one doing the planting, you're the one taking care of it. So there's direct involvement, of course, but the garden unfolds, right? You see what I mean by that? So this is the unfolding, but this is in terms of awareness, and awareness from spirit. And I really think that what we're doing here on this planet in form is remembering that we're spirit. It's not about working our way back to God, by doing good works. It's simply remembering that we are God in a sense. We are aspects of the Creator focused into form. Here to learn and to know and to see whatever theme we decided on play out. And what can we learn from that? What can we take back to the collective consciousness of the Creator? All right. To me, that's what we're doing here. So in a sense, our entire existence is manifesting Yira. Right? In a sense. But let's go ahead, and we're going to take our cards now. I'm going to do 5 cards total. We're going to do 3 that are just the general influence cards that set the tone for it. The 4th one's going to be a card that we might find challenging within all of that. And then the last card is going to be what benefits us. It's not really the outcome card. Oftentimes it'll be the 3rd card of the first 3 that's more of the outcome. But we'll see. Sometimes the reading can take on a life of its own, and it sort of goes in a different direction, and it has to be read differently than how I'm predefining it. Okay, so just be aware of that. Also, when you do tarot, you can move your cards around if they don't make sense. If you're looking at the reading, you say, well, geez, if that card was only there, then move it, right? You're telling a story with this. And if the story doesn't make any sense, it could just simply be that for some reason the cards were put down in a way that, it's telling you, hey, move me around, make me make sense. So you're reading, you can do whatever you want to with it, right? You're trying to, especially if you're doing it for someone else, you're trying to tell a story that hopefully will impact them or make sense to them or give insight to them for something else that may be going on. That's really, to me, that's the best use of tarot, trying to predict things. I don't know. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I'd rather just look at general influences and see what can benefit us and what can challenge us. So anyhow, let's go ahead and take our first card. Well, here we have the 8 of Pentacles. Kind of looks like Vaya there on the side, doesn't it? Wait, go on the other side there. Now, 8 is about material achievement. It's about material recognition. He's out in an area away from town. You can see the town in the background there. And he's working his craft in a progressive fashion. So the 8 of Pentacles basically denotes material achievement. Now, we'll see what that has to do with Yira and Vaya. But, again, visually, it kind of tells you that you're on the path of material achievement, or the new path you're on could be, profitable. So this could in fact be something, maybe you're going to start a business. I realize, things have changed work-wise. A lot of people are working from home now. Businesses are discovering that, hey, we can do that, and maybe we don't need this big, huge building. Maybe we can get away with something smaller, and that way we have more money to invest in the business or whatever, right? Instead of having to pay it out in rent or what have you. if you can figure out a different type of partnership with your people, where they're doing a lot of stuff at home, you're in the tech field, that lends itself to it perfectly. My boys are in the tech field, and they work from home. But I know that my youngest, they're supposed to go back, but I don't know that it's going to be there every day, right? I think they're going to try and figure out a way to do this, both there and at home. I think people like it. They like the how it makes them feel. They like the autonomy. But sometimes, your business, that can't be that's just not possible. I mean, how does a fast food restaurant do that? They can't, obviously. But where people are making those changes, perhaps Gaia is signaling that you're thinking about, starting a new business, maybe a new endeavor, or moving to a different way of working. Maybe you're looking for, at-home kinds of experiences that you can do there. Maybe going into the office, once or twice a week kind of thing, just to check in with people, or to come together and have a meeting or something like that. Or if you work with a team, maybe your team can meet once a week at work, but the rest of the time they're on their own and you're meeting over Zoom or something. It's so doable now, so it could be with the Eight of Pentacles, that's what we're really talking about, that you're about to embark on something new and lucrative. Or the changes you're going to make. The other part of the Eight is diligence, and he's clearly working diligently on his trade, on his craft, building his experience, building his wealth. Now, here we have another Eight, the Eight of Cups. So whereas Pentacles is the earth element, Cups is emotions. It's the water element. And here we're getting, and again, if you're making a change, all right, and this is work related, all right, you're letting the unfolding awareness of Yira help you to understand that everything is in a cycle. The idea of spending 30 years at a job and getting the gold watch at the end just doesn't happen so much anymore. It's not that it doesn't, because it does. It's just that, I know lots of people, they're at the same job they had when they were, like 25 years old, and they're about to retire. 40 years later, they're at the same place. I know a guy who probably, in fact, the dad of the guy that cut our field might be there. I know he and my husband worked together 40 years ago when we first moved here, but then my husband went his way, he went his way into something else, and I don't know how long he was there, but if he's getting ready to retire, then he had almost 40 years at this place. So it's doable, but most people are moving around to different things. They get bored. I had one friend of mine years ago say, well, why would I want to be in a job for 30 years? I would get bored. I want to go and do different things. And so people see this, the mindset changes. And in terms of the Eight of Cups, what we're looking here is, even though you can see him kind of walking uphill here, let's see if I can do this backwards. Uphill, you see the big rocks here and here. It shows that challenges are in his path. In fact, it looks like rocks are in his path, doesn't it? You can see over here. But he's put the cups all in a line, and it's almost like he's the missing ninth cup right there. And he's choosing to get all of it in order, and he's choosing to look at it, get it all there so he can see, and then he's going to walk away. And I think that the missing card is what's left in him that he's going to take with him. That's what I think. Because it just looks like there should be something there. And I think the there is the emotions he still has and what he's learned about how to manage all of it, the love, the compassion, the empathy, all of that. But here's the other part of it. It's the emotional security. And he's taking with him the emotional security to then make a change. The water element also is, what does water do? It can create great change, especially if it gets away and travels and floods the land, then it can foster great change. In my case, I have flood irrigation and I flood my field, and that's how my field grows. But again, you see, it creates great change. Again, within the whole unfolding experience of Yura on an individual path of growth, right? So, well, anyway, little aside there. But here we have another type of strength, don't we? 8 is also strength, not just material recognition and achievement. It's also strength. The inner strength to walk away from that which no longer serves, so that you can then focus on building your new experience. Let's see what the third card is before we take the what's going to benefit us and what's going to challenge us. We've had that running theme, though, of late, and I really think that it's just born out of the pandemic, really, and all of the changes that we've had to deal with during this time. Now that things are reopening, of course, it just depends on the area how successful that's going to be, or if reopening completely is just ends up in a super spreader event, which could happen. You know, you've got a lot of areas in the country where they're not getting vaccinated and they don't care. You know, they simply don't care. It's short-sighted, but, you know, I suppose you can make that choice. It's not going to necessarily serve you or someone else well. You may be just fine. It may be asymptomatic in you. You know, you might be a lucky one like that, because there have been people who get it and it just seems like a cold and it doesn't really affect them the way it does other people. But then they don't take precautions. They don't wear a mask, and then everybody they're with, they potentially give it to. Maybe somebody dies from it, from that whole experience. See, it's like it's so I guess if we could learn one thing about this, it's that this isn't about each individual. It's about the collective and the impact of the individual on the collective. So, I don't know. Well, okay, we have another 8. We have a run on 8s. Lots of stuff is coming in on you. Swift movement here. This is Wands. Be interesting if one of the other 2 cards is going to be the 8 of Swords, wouldn't it? There you're all bound and you're trying not to get in the way of things, of your own perceptions. But here with the 8 of Wands, we're talking swift movement here. Lots of things happening, attack, and we need to protect ourselves. So, again, maybe we're working diligently to protect what we have, or this new path we're on. So it tells me that whatever's going on, we're talking about a path with Vaya and unfolding awareness. And then we have a run on 8s. That's interesting. I haven't had that in a long time, where I'll have a run on cards like this, where the numerology will be the same, or it's all the same. Now, it's more apt to be all the same suit than it is to be all the same numerology here of the cards. But that's interesting. 3 times 8 is 24. That reduces to 6. So you're looking at a 6 numerology overall. And that's harmony and shared direction and shared purpose. Think shared, unified with 6. You know, whatever. Add whatever to the end of that. And that's what you have. I really think that what this reading is telling us, at least so far, is that something new is happening. And it could be something quite lucrative. It might give you some material achievement. It could certainly give you some material security. I think that instead of necessarily having this be attack, I mean, that could be what it is getting everything together so that you protect what it is you're now building. This could be just a completely new path you're on. and I suspect that it's probably born out of the pandemic and all the changes that we've had to endure. I saw a sign, and I've seen this on Twitter, where someone will take a picture of a sign. Usually it's outside of a restaurant. I haven't really seen anything else. It's usually restaurants. And it'll say, well, you know, we're not open because no one wants to work. or we're only open these days and these hours because nobody wants to work. It isn't that. It's that, I mean, can you imagine what it must have been like for people in the real, in the height of the pandemic? And I'm not sure we're not even out of that. So I mean, I shouldn't even say it that way. But you go to work and you're dealing with customers who don't want to be in masks. They're yelling, they're bringing weapons in wherever I mean, depending on where you live. I've seen pictures like that where they're standing there and they got weapons all over. And it's like you have to endure this provocation, and nobody wants to. All right, but you don't dare say anything because if you do, it's just going to make the person with the gun do something. Right? This is the world we're living in right now. It makes no sense, but oh my goodness, here we are. And so why would anybody want to come back to a job that pays minimum wage? No, maybe no benefits. I mean, maybe you live in a state where they require it, but maybe they work you part-time, see, then they don't have to pay benefits, right? So you're doing all this and taking all this abuse, and maybe you're getting sick. Heck, maybe you've even had coworkers who died from it. There's just all these stories that people have to tell about what it's like for them at work. So pay your people more, require people to be safe, and then you'll keep your employees, if that's in fact what you've done here, if the sign you have up is even accurate, or if it's just some kind of guilt trip to get people to come in. I mean, I don't even know. I look at that and it's like not all of it even feels real to me. So anyway, we're driving on Saturday and to go see the kids, and we have to go through this one little town, and sure enough, in front of a fast food place, there's a sign, and I'm just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. But this is also a town that apparently is part of that secession movement from Oregon, and they want to create a state called Jefferson. And they want to take most of Oregon and, combine it with Idaho and some of Northern California, I guess. And they want to create a new state. It's like, no, you can't do that. You're not going to do that. Oregon's not going to let go of anything. So, but we're driving through there and I see this, join the state of Jefferson. And I'm like, and that's when I remembered, oh, that's right. Because I looked at this, there's a map evidently you can look at to see just exactly what Oregon would look like, and the weird Jefferson state, which is like this weird, weird thing, right? It doesn't even look like a normal state would look. Even when you consider Florida, it's not going to look normal, and so it's just weird, and I can't believe I actually saw a sign for both. The pity party with the sign of we can't get anybody to work. Well, then pay them. Stop putting them in situations that compromise their safety. I don't know, or maybe if you can't do that, then maybe you shouldn't have a business. I don't know. I was a business owner. I see this stuff differently, I guess. I don't know. I don't think anybody has a right to have a business. I think if you can do it, great. But you can't do it to where people that work for you get harmed. I don't know. Maybe you don't have the right mindset. Maybe that person who owns that business needs to shut it down or sell it. Sell it to somebody that can actually treat their people correctly. After all, they're the ones keeping you in your nice house and driving your nice car. It's your people. It isn't you. You're not the one flipping burgers. You're the one sitting at home making the money while they do that. Well, Anyway, that's my rant. We have the Hanged Man as the challenge card. This is card 12 of the Major Arcana. Here you're looking at alignment and spirit. And I think that the challenge is to keep ego out of the new endeavor, especially if you're starting to make some money, which is kind of what I was just ranting about. You want to keep the ego at bay, and you want to stay aligned in your purpose, and you want to stay aligned in spirit, so that if you are a boss of people, that you're going to interact with them in a way that is respectful and dignified, and not ask them to deal with things that they shouldn't. And the benefit card Got an 18 there. It's a little bit of an 8. But it provides part of this, doesn't it? I need to have some tea. I think I breathed in too much smoke when I was outside. But here, this is transformation. It's also deception. Here you have the 2 dogs barking at the moon. One's dark, one's light. You see the 2 pillars, familiar theme in tarot. There is a path. You can see it there, I think. You see the path coming down through the split mountain up here at the top. So you see another. This is a card of balance. Anything to do with the moon. You're talking feminine magic. You're talking balance. You're talking change. And here with the lobster coming out of the water, lobsters shed their skin, and so that's why lobsters are always used in tarot and other divination methods for to denote transformation and renewal and rebirth. So I think that what this whole experience, I think what the moon is suggesting here is not deception, but I think transformation. And I think that what it's suggesting, that if you remain aligned in spirit, if you keep your focus lofty, if you do things with integrity, this new experience you're having, whether it's a new job or a business you've started or what have you, there may be a lot coming in on you. You may have to let go of some. In other words, this may be an experience that is so different than what you're used to that you have to let the 8 of Cups factors in, where you're letting go of emotional security issues that no longer serve you. In other words, you don't have to go to a place to get a paycheck. You can do it from your computer desk, right? You can do it on your laptop from your deck. I saw, and I didn't read the whole article, but it's that people are like going to Mexico and telecommuting from there. You can go anywhere. You can be anywhere. You can take your vacation and still work. In other words, if you wanted to do something like that, because you can take it with you. So there's a portability. It almost looks like this is portable, doesn't it? Because he's out away from the town. He's not working within the town. So either he's working at someone's property or he can go anywhere and do it, right? So maybe whatever this is, this new material security, this new material recognition, this new material achievement. Yes, it takes strength, inner strength to do that. But at the same time, I mean, especially if it's a completely different experience for you. And I just have a feeling that that's what this is. This is a new path, and it may be completely outside your comfort zone, but take it, because it could be something that could really, really benefit you and transform your life. There could be a sense of renewal here for you. And so I think that think about this, see if this resonates for you. We'll take a look again on Thursday and see if there's more information to be gleaned from this. But I suspect that Thursday's reading will also be part of this. This looks like something really exciting. And I realize that there's been a lot of this in the readings of late, but I think a lot of people are in these periods of new beginnings, where they're taking a look at their life. They've had a chance to get out of the normal day-to-day, stuff that they do and the way they do it, and they had to experience a new thing. How many students will want to continue to homeschool, right? There could be, in other words, you're finding other ways to achieve the same purpose. And you're finding ways that give you more autonomy. For some people, that's not going to be real comfortable, and they can't wait to get back to the normal way of doing things. But others are looking at this and going, do I need to work that way? Do I need to make my income that way? Or can I do this differently? Students, do you have to go into a classroom to learn? We pulled our boys out. They were gifted and they just weren't getting what they needed in school here locally. And so my oldest finished 7th and my youngest finished 4th, and they homeschooled the rest of the way. I mean, it wasn't a religious thing. It was necessity, because they needed to get ready for college. And so that's what we did here at home. But I mean, they both went to college, graduated, making really good livings in what they're doing. So you can do things in an alternative fashion. I think the pandemic has shown us that maybe we've been in this rigid thing that benefits certain people, but doesn't necessarily, it might benefit the owner of the business, but it doesn't necessarily benefit the worker. And here's the thing, in truth, if the worker could be kept happier, the boss wins, the owner makes money, right? It's like the control. They discovered that the control they thought they needed to have, realistically, if you trust your people, you give them a mandate, you give them the autonomy and the trust to do it. It's funny how that works. People suddenly want to do their best. Yeah. It used to be a pyramid. This was the pyramid model, okay, with the boss at the top. But now you invert the pyramid, and your star people, all your employees, all of that are the ones that are the most important. Yeah, when you convey that to people who work for you, they'll do anything for you. So don't be afraid. Just, in other words, you could even just extrapolate from the reading today, don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone and take on a new path, right? Well, we went long. We're almost 31 minutes. So anyway, we'll talk again Thursday. Have a good week. Check out the forecast on the blog. The correspondences go up on Patreon Monday through Friday. There's an esoteric forecast over on Medium Monday through Friday. And, come back on Thursday. Sign up for the newsletter if you want to. That's over on the side panel of the blog. You'll get the esoteric and magical influences in your inbox on Saturday night. You'll get it before everybody else. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good few days. We'll talk again Thursday. And be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.